Guys, I'm officially a conspiracy theorist. Oh my God, welcome along to A Little Bit Extra. My name is Sharon, and this is your escape from the shit show that is planet Earth. And we have got so much to cover today, including the fact that I've become a conspiracy theorist. I never thought that would happen, but I have become a conspiracy theorist after watching Love Story. You know, like the Disney Plus show that's all about John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. I've gone to the level of making a tinfoil hat for today's pop rap. I believe a conspiracy. That's how deep I am in the conspiracy theory. So we're going to break that down later today. Also, I've got some footage of what I think is a very hammered Married at First Sight Australia interview, which absolutely cracked me up. But we need to kick things off with our pop culture person of the week. And it has been way too long since this hunk, this stunt muffin, this sexy beast has been on our screens, has been getting coverage, and we have missed him greatly. The wonderful Duke of Hastings, Regé-Jean from Bridgerton. Oh! Seriously, I don't think that there is a more beautiful man than Regé-Jean. He is phenomenal. And he's been a deeply missed part of Bridgerton, in my opinion. Although, it's less time than I have to pause the show. Like when I would see Regé-Jean on Bridgerton, were there moments where I had to pause it and then go out and be like, husband, today is your lucky day. Let's get some subpar missionary going in here because I'm thinking about Regé-Jean. And he is just so hot. And we want him back on Bridgerton. And when he was on a radio show in the UK, he hinted it's the first time he hasn't said a flat no, that maybe he's coming back.
So, you coming back to Bridgerton? What are you saying? You left us, man.
Nicola was really good on SNL. She was really funny.
You're deflecting.
Great to see her.
He's
Great
deflecting.
moment. You're right. We did have a great hug, and it was wonderful to see her.
Please come back.
I think there's something he's not telling us. Are you going to go back?
I'm telling you, we had a great time. SNL.
Honestly, hose me down if that man comes back to Bridgerton. And if they want to like do a heated rivalry scenario and have like Jonathan Bailey and Regé-Jean like hook up on Bridgerton, that would be like a dream come true. I would absolutely love to see that. So like, I don't know, if Shonda Rhimes is watching this podcast, if you could just like have, I don't know, like a couple of scenes where Regé-Jean and Jonathan Bailey like really go at it, then that's going to be a ratings winner, Shonda. Let me tell you that for free. Now, moving into Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Now, they have absolutely taken over every timeline possible with their scandal. And quick recap if you don't watch the show. Taylor and Dakota, very toxic relationship. Had a video from 2003 domestic incident released. And then she was dropped from the Bachelorette. I hate that word. Bachelorette. And then there's been a lot of drama ever since then. But I think it's bullshit. And this is why. I think that Secret Lives of Mormon Wives are hamming up a bunch of drama to run distraction from what's happening with Taylor and Dakota. And I think that they're doing this to show the network that they don't need Taylor and Dakota if they have to take them off the show. Because Taylor is the main star of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, right? And so if there's no Taylor, is there no show? Great question. Will advertisers and sponsors want to be part of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives if Taylor and Dakota are part of it and be attached to like people amongst domestic violence? Highly unlikely. So if Taylor's not part of it, will they get another season? Well, hold my hat, because here comes Jessi announcing that she's getting divorced, then going on Call Her Daddy and drumming up a whole new drama that no one's even talking about Taylor and Dakota anymore. Then, after that, we have Miranda revealing that Jessi and her ex-husband Chase have hooked up, making her the third Secret Life of Mormon Wives star to have hooked up with her ex-husband. So I'm wondering, because this is playing out so publicly and the cameras are down, they're now back up, obviously, because there's a lot going on, that maybe the women were like, okay, if we're not going to have Taylor, we need to show them that we can carry the show without her. Jen Affleck has already been sent off to do the OC version of the show, and the rest of the women are like, okay, let's frickin' do it. And I really do think that this is being hammed up quite a bit. Now, this is a little insider tea for you. I was DMing one of the stars. I can't say who, But I floated this theory, and they replied by liking my theory. They didn't comment either way, but they did like it, which makes me think that they're trying to show Hulu and Disney Plus what they can do without Taylor. Now, here's another little weird piece to this puzzle. Jessi does her interview on Call Her Daddy. Call Her Daddy mentioned multiple times in the last season. Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy's documentary played out on Hulu and Disney Plus, the same network as Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Then, who's getting the interview with Chase? Regé-Jean. Regé-Jean also featured heavily on the last season of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And who does Regé-Jean work for? Alex Cooper. This seems like a big circle jerk of in-house promotion, lifting everybody up. Alex gets the tea. They talk about Alex. She platforms them and makes them bigger stars. And then they have to go on Harry's podcast to make him an even bigger star. I think this is just all so orchestrated. And I can't wait to see how it actually works out, because I call massive bullshit on all of this storyline at the moment. There may be elements of truth to it, but I think that it is being forced a little bit so that we will remain interested and hooked on something that isn't Taylor and Dakota. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, that must be Sharon's conspiracy theory. Oh no, that's still coming. I believe a conspiracy. But we need to talk about MAFS first. So on Saturday night, there was an interview between Rachel and Alyssa. And it's just some random Instagram video. But looking at the video, they can deny it all they want. They seem a bit hammered in this interview, and they start talking about Brook, and oh my god, it made me cackle so hard.
I think Brook would have handled herself a lot better, and I think blaming the producers is a little bit. And I just got one message: leave my alone. Look, you're not a Girl Scout, Brook. Yeah, you're not a Girl Scout. Right.
Oh my god, that is my worst nightmare. That is my absolute worst nightmare. Is like if somebody asked you what you really thought of someone on camera after a few drinks, bad times. But here's a little bit of tea that I heard, actually. I was listening to a podcast of a radio show over in Australia, Nathan Emma, who I freaking love, and they had Joshua Fox from MAFS Funny on, and he was talking about that David apparently walks off in the final vows with Alyssa. Apparently Alyssa comes in and absolutely crushes David, and he is completely blindsided by the fact that she doesn't want to continue the relationship outside of the experiment. And so David then just drops his vows, turns around and walks off, leaving Alyssa there. So if we thought that Married at First Sight couldn't get more drama, there's more drama coming, and you better be ready for it. Now it's time for me to put on my tinfoil hat. Now, I've never made a tinfoil hat before, but I've made this one. I think it's quite cute. It's even got some little antennas on it. And that's because, guys, I'm officially a conspiracy theorist. I never thought I would have to say that on this podcast, that I would be the person that's like, I believe a conspiracy. But guess what? She does. Now, we had the finale of Love Story, the John F. Kennedy Jr., Carolyn, Bessette dramatization that was on Disney Plus. Now, whilst there is a lot about this series that is not true, there are some things that are. But there's also some things that absolutely cracked me up, like the fact that when they're spreading John, Carolyn, and her sister Lauren's ashes in the sea, that a big gust of wind comes and basically all of their ashes are getting blown back onto them. Like, look at this. You can see the ashes going back. Like, I've had a friend, the first time that she met her now husband's family, she had to go to an ashes spreading and she got a mouthful of his grandma because of a gust of wind. How did they let this stay in there? Because there is no way that John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette and Lauren Bessette's ashes were just, like, blowing back onto the ship. Like, what happened then? The Secret Service came in with a broom and they're like sweeping them back into the ocean? Like, just no. Like, this is so comically hilarious. But this is the conspiracy theory that I believe. I think they're still alive. I think JFK Jr., Carolyn Bessette, and Lauren are all still alive. Now, I have been arguing with silent producer Sarah about this all weekend. And I was like, babe, I'm sure of it. And she is telling me I'm ridiculous. And one of the reasons is that, did you notice in the last scene of the finale when Carolyn and John are sitting like up on a cliff looking so peaceful and everybody's left them alone, Carolyn's mum is doing like a eulogy, and when it flashes to JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette, she's saying the lines, "I did not die."
Do not stand by my grave and cry, I am not there.
Which makes me think that Ryan Murphy and all the creators also believe that they're still alive. Now, if that wasn't the only thing that really got me going, then there is the video that's going around of when they're at the airport and they're by the plane, and there is a pilot that comes out and is like, hey, it's a great day for flying. This guy sounds exactly like JFK Jr.
Morning. Morning. Feel like logging some hours?
And he looks like an aged version of JFK Jr. And so people are saying that this is him, and there was all this stuff going on, and that maybe him and Carolyn are going to like slowly reappear. It's fascinating. What do you think? Let me know below. Do you think they're still alive, or do you think they're dead? I'm aware that I look like a crazy person. I'm going to take my hat off now. But I am going to leave it in the studio in case some more conspiracy theories come up. Oh, my God. If they are still alive, though, like my entire personality has now become JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette, because JFK Jr. is so freaking hot. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, I've seen fashion things of him come up, and then I've now sent them to my husband, Bryce. I'm like, hey, here's just some, like, fashion inspiration. And he comes into the bedroom, right? And he goes, did you just send me some JFK Jr. fashion things of like the way you want me to dress? I'm like, look, would it kill you to wear your hat backwards sometimes? Would it kill you to give some of these looks a go? And he was like, imagine if I sent you a gallery of fashion inspiration of like people wearing cleaved out short skirts and stuff. Like, you would think I was a raging sexist. And I was like, Bryce, just cool your jets, mate. Too much of this, too much yappity yap. Just go get your hat backwards and start doing some JFK Jr. stuff, and let's see how fast this woman sexy carnival gets going. Am I right? Yes. But honestly, the men that have started dressing like JFK Jr. in New York, pop off, kings, because you look freaking amazing. Miley Cyrus is another one that has been dominating the headlines after her 20th anniversary of Hannah Montana. And you know that song that she had, See You Again? And she's like, my best friend Leslie says, oh, she's me and Miley. I have long been fascinated with the fact that Miley Cyrus is still best friends with Leslie, her best mate from Nashville. And I always thought to myself, I wonder if she brags about that, because if I was my best friend Leslie saying, oh, she's just being Miley, that would be my catchphrase. Like, that would be my Instagram bio. I'm Leslie that says she's being Miley. That's just, it would become my whole personality. But turns out that she is using it to her advantage, and Miley Cyrus told Variety this story, and I'm like, yes, Leslie.
I feel like she definitely uses this, like, if they're like, okay, sorry, ma'am, all reservations are taken, we have no more spots at this restaurant, she might be like, but I am the best friend Leslie. She probably uses it to her advantage more than she admits.
Miley Cyrus is an absolute legend. Like, I know this story about Miley Cyrus where she was in a bar in New York and she was just there with friends and she was having a few drinks. This is like around the time she was engaged to Liam. And all these people wanted to come and like hang out with her and stuff, and she really wanted to catch up with her friends. So Miley Cyrus, instead of like chaperoning it and being like, nobody talk to me, she instead turned around and said, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. Anyone that wants a photo, we're going to get a photo. And then once that's done, we're all just going to go back to having a good night. No more photos for the rest of the night. So I can hang out with my friends. You still get your photos and everybody's happy. And everyone was like, oh my God, that's so lovely. And it was exactly what happened. She stood there for about 15 minutes taking photos with people. And then they all left her alone and she went and hung out with her friends. And it was an easy peasy lemon squeezy kind of sitch. And that just made me love Miley Cyrus even more. What an absolute freaking legend. We're going to get a little dark now, though. Tom Phillips is a pretty infamous news story here in New Zealand. And there's actually some of the biggest parts about this story can't be reported. And I kind of sit on both sides of the fence with that, where I'm like, you should, we should know everything. And then I'm also like, well, we should try and protect these children as much as possible. If you don't know the story, it is a story about a New Zealand man who went into hiding for years with his children and left and went into the bush, and they eventually were found years later, and Tom Phillips, in a standoff with police, was killed. Now, there's been an interesting back and forth about this, because whilst they were doing the investigation and when Tom Phillips was killed, there was a bunch of cameras there, and there was a documentary being made about the Tom Phillips case, the scenario, everything that was happening. And it seems like the New Zealand police were giving them free rein and very exclusive access. Now, Paddy Gower, who is a New Zealand journalist who is just the man. He's such a nice person. He always has time for everybody, but he also investigates really important things. And it's kind of been hidden who was making this documentary, if taxpayer money was being used for it, or what was the whole deal. And Paddy Gower has really forced the hand of the New Zealand police to admit who was making the documentary and why were they getting such good access to it. And Paddy Gower has found out that Netflix, a huge billion-dollar corporation, is making this documentary about Tom Phillips. And this is why the New Zealand police are giving them such exclusive access, according to Paddy Gower.
New Zealand police, though, say, hey, look, they think that this documentary is in the public interest, even if it may be sort of playing off victims of crime that are children. New Zealand police in a statement say, we recognise that clear and open communication to the New Zealand public is important to build and strengthen trust and confidence that we ask our communities to place in police.
Oh, that's good. I kind of feel like you can't really do a documentary about it. First of all, I just want those children to be protected and hidden for as long as possible. They don't need to be known as those children that went through such a horrific trauma. But also, can you make a documentary with so many huge parts of the story being sealed and can't be talked about? Like, you can't just talk around like this huge elephant in the room, which completely flips the case completely. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. But if Netflix is behind it, can we not use the taxpayer dollar? They've got enough money. Like, just let them do it. They're making some pretty big shows, you know? Now, I have DM'd a celebrity after a few drinks, which, you know, if you follow the Instagram page, a little bit extra.podcast, you will know that this is a habit of mine. And my latest victims, not really victims, but my latest people I've DM'd is Sophie and Jamie Lang. They used to be on Made in Chelsea. They are absolutely hilarious. They've got a reality show coming to Disney Plus, and they have a podcast called Nearly Parents. And they are just so funny. I've sent them an email. I've really gone for it. So I'll keep you posted on whether or not we hear back from Sophie and Jamie. But just so you know, I am deep in the DMs of your favourite celebrities, and if there's someone that you want me to try and get on the show, then please comment it below and let me know, and I will try my best. I will come up with my funniest DM to try and get them on the podcast for you. But join us on Thursday, because Scott from Married at First Sight Australia is going to be here, and my word, he has some absolute behind the scenes scoop for you. He's talking Gia, he's talking the process, he's talking the passing of Mel Schilling, and so much more. So make sure you join us on Thursday. Don't forget, like, follow and subscribe, because if you don't, this podcast may die a horrible death. So like, follow and subscribe. We'll catch you back on Thursday. But genuinely, thank you so much for being here and putting up with my weirdness. Should I wear my hat one more time? If you're listening to this, you can't see it, but just so you know, I look sexy as heck. Do, 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 do.